What can happen if you offend a kind spirit? How do some ghosts say goodbye before leaving? Is time travel possible? You'll find answers to these and many other questions in this video. Today, I will show you photographs depicting frightening things. And the stories behind these pictures will make you think about a lot. This photograph was taken in Canada during the reopening of the South Forks Bridge. At first, it seems like there's nothing unusual in the photo, just a group of photographers capturing an important event. But take a closer look. On the right side of the photo, there's a man wearing sunglasses. His style of clothing is very different from all the other people present in the photo. The man is holding a rather modern camera. And yet, the photo was taken in 1941. How a man in such clothing could appear in the frame during that period is unknown to anyone. But many lean towards the idea that the man might have been a time traveler. Otherwise, his presence in the photo simply cannot be explained. Here's a photo of a happy family, taken in 1930. So many close relatives gathered at home to capture this moment in history. But what if I tell you that not only people were captured in this photo? Look more closely. In the center, a semi-transparent female silhouette is noticeable. A sadly bowed head, slender hands, a graceful figure. This ghost has appeared to the house's residents multiple times. She always behaved peacefully, watching the family and not interfering with their daily life. She is described as a lady dressed in a white dress. A brown brooch adorned her waist, and her hair was very dark. Apparently, the ghostly lady was so attached to this family that she decided to also be present in the photo, so her image would remain in history. This photo was taken from a surveillance camera monitor in one of the hospitals. A nurse noticed strange movement in the patient's room and a visitor who clearly shouldn't have been there. The figure standing on the patient's bed was described by witnesses as a demon. It was jumping on the patient's bed, performing strange actions. When the nurse came to the room to check what was happening, the patient was already alone. The woman checked every corner of the room, but it was empty. No one could figure out where the mysterious visitor disappeared to. The cameras never again captured similar figures in that hospital. Shortly after the visit from the uninvited guest, that patient passed away. What happened then remains a mystery to everyone who witnessed the event. In this photograph, you can see a strange dark silhouette in the hospital corridor. In fact, the incident occurred in a nursing home, and the photograph was taken by one of the residents. A couple of minutes before the photo was taken, the staff and residents of the nursing home were drawn to strange sounds coming from a room in that very corridor. First, there was the sound of a door opening and closing, and then the call light turned on and off several times. Then this dark figure appeared in the corridor. Witnesses say that 15 minutes before the incident, one of the patients at the facility passed away. Could it have been his ghost? The photograph captures the mummified head of Sister Maria Rosenthal. The woman served in a convent where she was once born. You might ask, what is special about this woman? Why did the Catholic Church allow her remains to be mummified? The matter is not so much about the nun herself, but about her mother, Josephine. In 1742, a woman who had served in the convent her entire life announced that she was pregnant. The nuns conducted an examination and found that the woman was a virgin. She was not expelled from the convent, and they began to investigate the situation. But gradually, they came to the conclusion that what had happened was a new case of immaculate conception. Josephine spent her entire pregnancy in the convent, where she was revered and respected. But unfortunately, the woman died during childbirth. She gave birth to a frail little girl, who was named Maria. The infant miraculously survived thanks to the efforts of the nuns and doctors. Maria spent her entire life in the convent, wrote several theological works, and gained a following of admirers. Other nuns believed that Maria was destined to follow the path of Christ. The woman died very young. She was only 33. But even after her death, the church could not allow her to leave, without leaving something behind. The priests ordered the preservation of the woman's head, a vial of her blood, her hair, and a fragment of her spiritual treatise. All of this was placed in a special box and kept in her convent. Maria was so highly revered that her remains were preserved even after the convent was destroyed. And only many years later were they returned to the church's hands. Calm. Music. This photo was taken in 1936 by a photographer named Hubert Provand. In the photo, you can clearly see a woman slowly walking up the stairs. The ghost was accidentally captured in the photo when the photographer was shooting the house for a magazine. It is believed that the woman on the stairs is Lady Dorothy Townsend. She lived with her husband in Raynham Hall in the 17th century. Lady Townsend died of smallpox. However, many believe that her husband locked her in a room, where she met her end from starvation. There are many eerie legends about this ghost, which has been seen multiple times at Raynham Hall. The photo and its story became very popular, and the ghost was named the Brown Lady. Photographer Tony O'Halloran took a photo of a burning house in 1995. In the photo, you can see a girl peeking out from the door of the building, engulfed in flames. However, it is quite clear that no living person could simply stand in a fire like that. Because of this, O'Halloran concluded that the girl clearly could not be alive. He asked the locals and found out that a legend has been circulating in the town for many years. It says that a long time ago, there was a girl named Jane Churn living in the town of Shropshire. She was quite nice and kind, but she died in a fire at a very young age. The fire was caused by Jane, and she simply couldn't escape from the burning building. Since then, her spirit is often seen during fires. She quietly stands in the flames, looking at people with longing. The building in Achilles' photo burned to the ground that day, as did many others where this mysterious ghost was seen. This eerie photograph was taken by Reverend Kenneth Lord in 1963. He was photographing the Church of Christ the Consoler in Newby. While taking the photos, the man didn't notice anything strange, but at home, when he developed the photo, he was genuinely frightened. The photo shows a silhouette with a creepy face, as if trying to lower it to keep it hidden from the viewer. But that's not even the most frightening part. Judging by the objects around, the ghost must be significantly taller than the average person. It should be mentioned that previously, no oddities or ghosts had ever been noticed in this church. However, the authenticity of the photograph and the absence of editing have been confirmed by many experts. This photo was taken in 1959. The woman was visiting her mother's grave, and when she returned to her husband's car, she decided to take a picture of him. The man in the photo seems quite happy. However, the passenger in the back seat doesn't seem too pleased about being photographed. She appears to be trying to hide. But the thing is, the man was alone in his car. At that moment, the back seat was empty. When the woman developed the photo, she recognized her long-deceased mother in it. Perhaps she followed her daughter who visited her. Or maybe she always stays close to her so she won't be lonely, and protects her as best as she can. This photo was taken during Lord Combermere's funeral in 1891. In the photo, you can see a silhouette sitting on a huge chair. Everyone who saw the photo and knew Lord Combermere personally could unmistakably recognize him in this figure. The fact is, during the man's funeral, a photographer was invited to his house to capture his library. And that's exactly what he did. During the photo session, the man did not notice anything supernatural. Only after the photos were developed did the man approach the deceased's relatives with questions. It turned out that during his lifetime, the Lord loved to sit in that chair in the library. Apparently, even after death, the man couldn't give up the habit. The man was photographing the surroundings of Hertfordshire before a wedding in a local barn. After developing some photos, the man noticed a boy in white. He hesitantly peeked out from behind various structures, as if shy to appear to the photographer. The man approached the locals with questions about the anomalous child. They told him that stories about a deceased child wandering around Hertfordshire have been circulating for a long time. He doesn't harm anyone, he just observes and occasionally shows himself to people. Who this child was in life and what happened to him remains a mystery. In 1997, a married couple visited the Worstead Church. While the wife was praying, the husband decided to take a picture of her. After developing the photo, the man asked his wife who was sitting on the bench behind her. But the woman insisted that there was no one there. The couple returned to the church and asked the priest who it could have been. The clergyman then told them the legend of the White Lady. This ghost comes to aid the sick and heals them. During their first visit to the church, the woman was indeed ill. However, this was not the first appearance of the lady. She had resided in this church for hundreds of years, appearing in times of special need. She was often seen in the bell tower. Once, a man who did not believe in ghosts entered the church and decided to mock the White Lady. With the words that he was going to kiss her, the man ran up to the bell tower, but he didn't return for a long time. When his friends went up after him, he was terrified. The man was huddled in a corner, repeating a single phrase, "I saw her." This photo was taken by a police officer during a call. The woman claimed that there was someone in her house. However, upon inspection, the police officer didn't find anyone. Then he took several photos for the report, but what he saw in them astonished the man. All this time, the entire family living in that house claimed it was haunted. But no one believed the residents. After this photo, the police officer believed them once and for all. This photo was taken in Romania at the abandoned disabled hotel. Many people report seeing the ghost of a tall woman wandering the corridors of the building. According to legend, beneath the foundation of the 150-year-old hotel, enormous treasures are hidden, which this ghost guards. Before this photo, there was no evidence of the lady's existence. However, the girl who was taking pictures of the hotel accidentally captured the ghost in the frame. According to the girl, the ghost was dressed like an ancient priestess in a white dress. However, it is still unknown what treasures exactly the restless spirit guards, and what will happen if someone tries to take them. This photo was taken by Reverend Blanc. That day, the man went to the Corroboree Reserve and admired the local beauty. He was taking photos as souvenirs and was completely alone that day. The terrifying discovery was made after the film was developed. In the photo, a woman in white clothes appeared, looking into the distance with her hands pressed to her face. It turned out that this is a rather well-known ghost among the locals. The girl often appeared to different people, but all descriptions of her always come down to the same thing. The ghost looks like a young girl in white clothing. Sometimes they say it's a nightgown, an old-fashioned dress, or a national costume. Many think she is dressed like a priestess. But everyone agrees on one thing: this ghost guards the Corroboree Rock, so everyone treats her with reverence and respect. This photo was taken by a young daredevil who decided to go to the cemetery at night in 2021. Tyler Coronosio captured the ghost at Pine Hill Cemetery. Having heard the local legends, the guy came at night to the place where ghosts were most often seen. There, a mysterious figure appeared in his shot, hovering over a grave. Abel Blatt, who was quite well known in his time, rests in this cemetery. The man was an occultist and a murderer, but he found no peace after death. The legend says that he roams the cemetery in search of his wife for the way home. But neither his home nor his wife have existed for a long time. The man was killed back in the 18th century. Rumor has it that Abel killed his wife during a bloody ritual, and then he himself died. Since then, he has forever lost peace and is now doomed to wander among the graves eternally. This photograph was taken by a passerby. David Newham was inspecting the paths on his estate when he noticed the silhouette of a girl in the river. David hurried to help the poor girl, as it was not the season for swimming. But the closer he got to the mysterious lady, the more he realized that she was clearly not human. The man cautiously took a picture and stayed to observe. But soon the ghost vanished, merging with the water. According to local legends, it could be the spirit of the East Wit River. This silhouette is not often seen, but people who pass by the river do see it occasionally. She does not seek to harm anyone, behaves quietly, and always stays by the water. The beautiful girl disappears as soon as she notices someone nearby, leaving behind many questions. This photograph was taken at a railroad crossing south of San Antonio. The photo was made available for public viewing by Andy and Debbie Chesney. Their daughter and her friends decided to investigate the local legend of the ghost. Under the cover of night, the group went to the crossing and decided to take some photos. In one of the pictures, a transparent figure was clearly visible, which had been seen many times at this location before. According to local legend, several school-aged children died at this crossing. A school bus got stuck on the tracks, and a locomotive crashed into it. Since then, strange things have been happening there. For example, one witness reported that his car got stuck on the crossing at night. While he was pondering what to do next, the car started rolling forward. The driver had the feeling that someone was pushing his car. There was no one around at that time. As soon as the car crossed the tracks, it stopped immediately. The man started the engine and drove away. Many believe that this is the work of the ghosts of the children who died. They save everyone who gets stuck on the tracks. so that no one else has to experience what they once did. This photo was taken at the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich. The photo features the exquisite tulip staircase. Reverend Ralph Hardy came to the museum to capture the beauty of the architecture, but a ghost accidentally appeared in the shot. For 1966, it's not surprising that the photographer couldn't immediately view the resulting image. So the clergyman continued to walk around the museum, unaware that he had managed to capture a spirit. As soon as the man arrived home, he developed the photo and was horrified. He showed the photo to the world, but it was met with skepticism. Several times experts tried to find traces of forgery, but so far no one has succeeded. And the ghost in the photo might belong to a maid. The girl died on this very staircase and now roams there, never finding peace. This photo was taken by a woman after strange events occurred in her house. On February 11, 1988, someone began knocking aggressively on a private house in Sevolosk. At that moment, only a woman and her young daughter were at home. At first, the residents of the house decided to ignore the knocking, but with each passing minute, it became more insistent. Then the woman couldn't take it anymore and went outside to check who was so persistently trying to get her attention. There was no one outside. Just in case, she decided to walk around the building to make sure it wasn't a prank by some child. But it was empty around the house. Then the woman headed back, but her attention was caught by a strange sound. Right before her eyes, a crack formed in one of the house's windows, and then a nearly perfectly round piece of glass fell out of the frame. The woman headed home to get a camera to document the damage. She still believed it was someone's cruel joke. But an unexpected guest appeared in the photo. In the photo, the face of a woman is clearly visible, looking directly into the camera lens. To this day, no one can answer the question of what happened that evening, and who this eerie woman in the photo is. Today, you have looked at amazing and sometimes unsettling photographs that make us ponder the supernatural world. These images, capturing something inexplicable, evoke both fear and curiosity. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these images remind us that our world is full of mysteries. It's better to remain open to the unusual and mysterious. After all, who knows what secrets are still waiting to be uncovered? Thank you for watching the video to the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new exciting stories.